Hi, I'm C.C. Péan, and this is Reclaiming Your Health. Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to Reclaiming Your Health. I am your host, Chef C.C. Péan. Thank you for joining us this evening. I hear that there's a lot of buzz behind this recipe. I'm actually trying to think if I have ever done anything sweet. I think the only other sweet dish I have done was probably French toast quite a while back. Hey, Paola, my neighbor is on. She's the best. Actually, Paola, I'm going to have you come on one evening. Her energy is so incredibly addictive, and it's just so free. She's a lovely, lovely person, and I would love to have her come on. Maybe she can teach me a Dominican dish because she's Dominican. Anyway, this evening we're making a really simple dessert treat snack. This is great because it can be prepared in under 30 minutes. You probably already have most of these ingredients in your cupboard, on your, with your fruit. Really easy to get ingredients, takes under 30 minutes to make. It is gluten-free and refined sugar-free, and you will not miss either the gluten or the sugar. We are using, so if you're a completely super strict vegan, this recipe won't work for you because we actually do use 2 tablespoons of honey. Okay, so you can always switch that out for agave if you want to, or maybe a little maple syrup if you want to. But since I'm trying to go refined, sugar-free, that's why I'm using honey, and raw unfiltered honey at that, which means it is not pasteurized, and it also means that it is full of antioxidants and anti-inflammatory benefits. So I mentioned to you all a few weeks ago that my husband is trying to step back from taking in so much gluten. And I know my girlfriend Karen is on as well, Carolyn Bartley DeBrango, who is a wonderful resource for all things gluten-free. This recipe requires gluten-free rolled oats. You can get them from Bob's Red Mill, very easily purchased at most grocery stores like Publix and the Kroger's. You can also get it at Sprouts. You can also get it at Whole Foods. Gluten-free oats are great for you. And I would encourage you, even if you don't have a gluten sensitivity or lack of gluten intolerance, even if you don't think you have, let me change my language, even if you don't think you have, I would start to try to incorporate more gluten-free products into your diet. Here's the reason why. We have gotten so comfortable with discomfort, intestinal discomfort from the different things we eat, that sometimes it doesn't even occur to us that if we change the way we're eating, or that there's something that we're eating that is causing us this discomfort. And I did not realize that I had a gluten sensitivity until my husband and I took everything out. And we went to the basics. And when I say basics, I'm talking eating food as close to its natural state as possible. So no processed foods, no preservative packed foods, no prepared foods. Everything we ate was like super clean and super simple. And I started to notice that I felt a lot better. The skin eruptions and things that I used to get, I no longer got. The minute I ate some regular oats again, boom, I had intestinal discomfort. So I would encourage you all to do that. Take your diet down to really, really basics and then gradually add things back in. And you will likely be surprised at what doesn't jive well with your body. Okay, enough about that. So why are we using honey instead of sugar? Well, number one, sugar will cause your insulin to spike much faster than honey will. because honey, especially raw unfiltered honey, has water, pollen, minerals, including magnesium and potassium, amino acids, antioxidants, enzymes, and vitamins. All of those things are in honey, whereas with sugar, you're just looking at fructose and glucose, and that's it. So if you're going to do a sweetener, this is the one to use. But let me tell you, what's great about this recipe is most of our flavor and sweetness is coming from these bananas. Now, I know some people's skin may crawl when they see bananas with these types of spots, but baby, this is how you want them when you're baking with them, because they have that true banana flavor and they're super sweet. So what you would usually use sugar for, you're replacing it with these 2 bananas and 2 tablespoons of honey, okay? So let's show how this goes. And we're also going to use some cardamom, which you all, anybody who's watched me for any time knows I love cardamom. It's kind of like a ratatouille thing for me. My mom would always bake Christmas time with cardamom flavor. And so I love this. If you're not big on cardamom, no problem. You can use cinnamon, or you can just not use a spice at all. Okay, and likewise, for this recipe, the banana is giving that sweetness, and it's also serving as a binder. But if you don't like bananas, you can use applesauce, okay? There are all kinds of great substitutes. But since we're making Cardamom Chunky Monkey Bites, you gotta have bananas because we associate bananas with monkeys. So I'm just gonna put 1 in the bowl and 2 in the bowl. And we're just gonna take a fork. The cardamom doesn't have to be organic. I guess if you can find it that way. This is a non-GMO cardamom that I found, which is basically like, pretty much like organic, and I got this from Whole Foods. It doesn't have to be organic, but if you can find it, go for it. Now, this is something that's so easy to make, and as I was mentioning earlier, this is a great little treat to make with your kids after school. They'll be really proud of themselves, how simple it is. You can know that your children are eating things that are good for them. You know exactly what's in there. It's not full of preservatives and all kinds of stuff. It's pure food. That's what we want to do. Oh, and I'm getting ahead of myself. And also we have some dairy-free semi-sweet chocolate morsels that I just got. Organic, I got them from Publix. So we've got our 2 bananas in our bowl. Okay, great, you can see that. And I'm just gonna take my fork and I'm gonna smash them. This is why you need them to be ripe and somewhat soft. Hard bananas that are bright yellow will not work for this recipe. If you do that, you're gonna have a disaster on your hands. So you just take a fork and you just are gonna mash this in your bowl. And this is a super simple recipe. If you want to, you know, make 2 or 3 times the amount, you can. And so I have used my fork, and this is kind of like a banana pulp at this point. Okay, so let me let you see that. This is what it looks like. See how quickly those 2 bananas broke down? Okay, that's because they were well spotted. You guys saw that they were really well spotted, somewhat soft. Okay, so what we're gonna do, this recipe calls for a cup of these gluten-free oats. What I'm gonna do, just to help combine it a little better, I'm gonna use like a 1/4 cup of the oats whole. I'm just gonna put them right there. And then I'm gonna do 3/4 cup of my NutriBullet. You don't have to do this, but I play around with this recipe a little bit and I actually like it. So I'm gonna put the other 3/4 in my bullet. And I'm just gonna zip it real quick. And you're gonna see what happens is it's gonna turn to kind of like a, not a fine meal, but like a coarse meal. So let's get this on here. Just like that. You don't want to do it too much. Just want to break it down a little bit. Okay, so we've got that 3/4 cups of the ground gluten-free oats and a 1/4 cup of the whole oats. To this, I'm going to add my 2 tablespoons of honey. And as I said earlier, you can always use maple, or you can use agave. There's 1. There's 2. Okay. Now we're going to do a teaspoon of our cardamom. Cardamom is a significantly flavored spice, so I would say to start with little and work your way up. Okay, and I'm going to use a glove to get started on this. I'm going to mix it with my hands a little bit before we put in the chocolate chips. And if you can just see, just like it just comes together. Can you see that? It just comes together very easily. See that? Now, all oats are not made equal, so you may have to add a little more. You see how this has come together? Okay. I'm going to add just a little more. This is probably about just about a 1/4 cup extra. Perfect. And now to this, I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of my chocolate chips. Now, you can add nuts to this if you want to. You can add coconut, shredded coconut to it. It's a lot of things you can add. Okay, there's my 1/4 cup of chocolate chips. I'm gonna put my glove back on. I'm only doing this because you were all here. Why not blend the oats too much? Well, you don't want to blend the oats too much because you don't want to make it like a powder. You still want it to have some substance to it. If it's a powder, it's not going to combine the way we want it to. It'll be too mushy. You kind of want some chunkiness to this. So that's why we don't want to blend it too much. Okay. So folks, we are ready to put this on my tray that I've lined with parchment paper and I've sprayed it a little bit. Now I have 2 scoopers. This one is really small. I mean, this is literally like a bite. Okay, so depending on how many you want, this one's a little bigger. This one will end up being more like a cookie. So it really depends on what you want to do. Now, I will tell you, these things are yummy. So you will definitely be eating 1, 2, or 3 of these. I love the scooper because I can get perfectly sized bites. Of course, you can make this bigger, but you would likely have to double or triple your recipe because you won't get very far if you're making big cookies. This is such an easy, yummy recipe. So far, let's see. go. That's it. I've got one super tiny one that I'm going to make here. And there you go. So with one time this recipe, and this is about a 1 ounce scoop, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, well, 10 and a half, let's say, little cookies. So our next step is just to put this in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes. I'm going to do that. I'll be right back. And when they are done, this is how they will look. These are our finished Chunky Monkey Bites, Cardamom Chunky Monkey Bites. Now, you're going to get a real-time response because I haven't tasted these recently. Let's see how they taste. Those are really good. You would not know that there's not like a half a cup of sugar in this. You can taste the banana. The cardamom really brings the banana flavor out. And then we've got the chocolate chips. But I will tell you, if there were some nuts in here, I think this would be next level. And that would go really well in a Chunky Monkey Bite as well. All you need is a cup of tea or some milk, almond milk, soy milk, coconut milk, oat milk. Delicious. So folks, this is this week's treat, Cardamom Chunky Monkey Bites. We've got 2 really ripe bananas. We've got a cup and a quarter of gluten-free oats. We've got chocolate chips. We've got some cardamom and honey. Literally 5 ingredients in under 30 minutes. A delicious, antioxidant-rich, nutrient-rich, delicious snack or treat. That's it. Thank you for joining me, y'all. See you next week. Bye-bye.